It's not time yet. I'll give you the heads up. We're loading. The heck? No. Go.
All right. We'll consider ourselves called to order for the January special call meeting of the Calvert City Planning Commission. The time is 5:36. And first item of business, we're going to actually recess for the special call or for the public hearing. So we'll consider ourselves recessed for the public hearing. I don't see any public here, John, so.
No one is requested to be online.
All right. Any other, so no public comment there. Can we just,
Well, we need to discuss, well, I don't know, no public, this is set for public comment. So unless there's public comment, we can go ahead and I guess go on to the other phase.
that's what I would say.
So.
All right. So do I hear a motion that we convene or dismiss the public hearing then?
I'll make the motion to dismiss the public hearing.
From Brad. Do you hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Gary. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. So we'll reconvene our special call meeting. Next time of business, you've got the minutes from our December meeting in your packet. Any questions or comments on those? If not, do I hear a motion there that they say stand approved as read or stand approved?
Yeah, I'll make that motion that approve is read.
Motion by Ben. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Now we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Kathy,
right. Anyone
you're on
opposed,
mute.
by like
You're on mute.
All right. So there we go to.
There she is.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Let's
review the master plan. Okay, John, take us on, brother.
Okay. Roger, the one that Roger submitted, we got a letter back and we talked today. The engineers were given a copy. Greg was given a copy. You all received a copy. There were some items that the engineers found. Some we've addressed and some that aren't really relevant to this one in particular, but I didn't send that out today. I didn't know if you all would get that, but I'm gonna put on the screen the new updated plat for your so you can see it.
Okay.
Share that right quick.
Here.
Can you see it?
We can.
Okay. Now some of Greg, do you have that in front, the actual letter with you?
Yes, I do.
Since I'm sharing this screen, can you read from that? Because they're both PDF format and I would change my screen by picking it. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can pick it up.
Sure.
No. Yes, I've got it. I'm sorry. Let me go back here and fix this one again. Okay. The first item, HDR did the review. In the first one, it was
Hey, John.
Yeah.
John, before you go through, look and see, make sure that the title block shows Roger and Jesselyn as the owners.
Time out.
There you go. What's it say down there?
Developer, Calvert Development LLC. So
Roger and Jesselyn.
that's the developer.
No,
I'm sorry.
it says
The owner is
Roger
Roger and Jesselyn Colburn.
You're good. Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to know.
Okay. all
I'm
right.
good. Now you can go back and we can look at the letter.
Okay. We'll go through that. I'll try to speed this up. Roger, if you need to interject, feel free to. Do I need to swear him in?
Yeah.
Public hearing anymore.
All right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's not a hearing. No, you're right. Just listen to Darren. He knows what he's doing.
All right. Item 1, section 44F4B of the subdivision regulation streets. In regards to right of way, there is no mention of the city of Calvert City bikeway that is located on the master plan within proposed lot 11. Information needs to be provided that clarifies how this master plan will impact the bikeway. Has research been conducted to determine if the deed of declaration or easements exists for the section of the bikeway? Results of the research needs to be added to the master plan for verification. Roger, would you go ahead and address that? I know there was supposed to be one sent by.
Yeah, so up on the master plan, we have updated it to reflect that comment. The trail is now labeled and the limits of the easement are shown. And there in the legend, we included an item for the easement on the multi-use path, so you could see the line string there and know what it was. The easement is roughly 20 feet off of the center line of the path is how it, and so we transcribed it onto our plat based on the information BFW gave us.
Okay. That would be this dotted line here.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But
So
no,
that dot, and it's 20 feet either side of that, or 20 feet.
well, really, it's just see so the dotted line.
Oh, no, it's limit.
Everything to the west and to the north of the dotted line would be in the
Okay.
easement.
All right. Between the property line and the dotted line is in the easement.
Right.
This whole
So,
area. Okay. All right.
yeah, they gave us a figure that had our property line on it, and Isaac he overlaid that on there, and it's pretty good for master plan purposes. And of course, we got the easement document stuff. We'll make sure it's all formalized, and so
Okay.
that item should be addressed.
All right. So that was number 1. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Item 2, proposed lots 3 and through 11 appear to encroach upon an existing gravel access road. Now, that is not the case. In this case, it's the actual gravel road is the city's, and it encroaches on his property. So that's not something he has to deal with. We will actually be making a change to that ourselves. And so therefore, item 2 is not relevant to this particular master plan as far as Roger goes. Item 3, also part of streets. Oak Park Boulevard is also identified as Kentucky State Highway 1523. This information needs to be added to the master plan. Since it is a Kentucky State Highway, the property will be subject to rules, regulations, permitting requirements, and for the addition of entrances and drainage structures within the Kentucky Department of Transportation's right-of-way to allow access to the proposed Park Place subdivision. That being said, that has been added. Kentucky Highway 1523 has been added.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, it has been added to it, and we acknowledge the permitting requirements in order to make a connection to the roadway. We understand there'll be encroachment permits required, and that will address the proposed roadway and any kind of drainage structures that are needed to convey stormwater.
Okay. So any questions upon that? Section 4, on utilities. In regards to easements, there is no mention of utility easements for overhead electric, fiber optic lines, sanitary sewer lines, and water lines to determine the potential impacts. Utilities are shown, however, existing easements are not. And I want to say, and Roger, you can follow us up with there, and even Greg, there are no easements. These lines go back, with the exception of fiber optics, who just hung theirs on the electric pole. And I guess there would be prescriptive easements because there's no other than sanitary sewer to that was on a different track, wasn't it?
Yes, down in Old Park, or I guess it's not Old Park, in Doctors Park, not Doctors Park, whatever that's called down there, Memorial Park. The lift station and some sewer easement is located down there, but up here on this property, there doesn't seem to be any easement.
Okay, so there
Is that your
are
understanding, Roger?
Well, there weren't any recorded easements, but you know how that goes. Those facilities have been there, so there's easement by prescription, basically, and we'll honor that as part of the development.
Okay.
All right. Features of site. I'm sorry, do anyone have any questions? Hearing none, I'll move forward. Item 5, features of site in regards to wooded areas none are shown, nor is it mentioned if tree removal will be part of the plan. One could easily assume that, just let me move over here. Tree removal is necessary. However, it hasn't been mentioned in the master plan and needs to be added. And I think you put some notes in there, Roger.
We did. There's a note that we put on the plat notes that address that. So on I think it's the 4th one right above the owner's certification.
Right
We
here.
say there are no utility easements of record. Existing trees are to be inventoried during the development phase. Tree removal will be necessary undoubtedly, but an attempt will be made to preserve any trees not in conflict with the development plans. We'll try to do that. Now, I would clarify, there are a couple large oak trees there, and I don't know that we're going to be able to preserve those. Those look like that they're going to be conflicting with the proposed structures. John, we also sent to you kind of a draft development plan that shows the buildings, and maybe we can show the commission that in a minute. But I guess what I would say is, yeah, we're cognizant of the trees. We're going to try to save what makes sense, what's healthy, and what we believe would live with the disturbance that we need to get the buildings built as per the development plan for it. But right now it's somewhat premature for us to promise anything on that. I didn't go in there. We didn't survey each individual tree in that woodlot. As you all know, that whole hillside mostly is wooded, and there are some decent trees, and we'll try to save them where we can. And you can see on the development plan what we had somewhat intended in terms of we want the thing to look like a park, and we want to blend with the park. So that warrants preservation of trees where we can, and then we'll try to, like we say. And
Yeah.
This is about the only area right here in lot 11 that doesn't have, it's not wooded, isn't it? This area right here, lot 11.
that's correct.
Back in this
That's
area
just
here.
really scrubby. Yeah, but the rest of it's got pretty good cover, although the quality of some of the trees maybe not quite as desirable as we would like. But like I say, we're cognizant of that, and we simply would try to preserve what makes sense. And so I'm a tree hugger myself, I can tell you that, and I don't mind saying that, and I'll try to do what we can. It's just, I know the things that are most pronounced in their area, the big oak trees. And my theory is that we start disturbing underneath the drip lines of those trees, that, I don't know how they're going to withstand that. So.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Item 6 is also something that will be basically non-existent in this one, because it's asking him to identify a gravel access road, which is actually in the city's property, not on his. That is this area here. If you can see the hand, that is the existing gravel walking trail. It goes around the east side of the soccer fields and then actually ties into the multi-use trail. That's actually on the city, and that's the city's. And we'll have to do some adjustments on that, because when we put that in, we thought we were far enough off the property line, but apparently we're not. So that's not really anything that he needs to deal with. It said item 7, existing bikeway needs to be better identified. He's added that by the multi-use path right there.
And so I would say, I would add to that, when we get to the planning process, that'll have all the geometry on it, and it'll be clear, where that area is, and there'll be no question that there'll be no buildings within that area. So.
Questions so far? Okay. Item 8, features of site, the existing water course and culvert that conveys flow under the existing gravel road access road along Calvert City soccer fields needs to be identified. It is also unclear where the anticipated water course for the outfall of the proposed stormwater management easement will be. Roger has added, if you'll see, it says proposed stormwater management easement, which is this dash line here. He's added this, which is already there. This is a drainage pipe under the walking trail. But Roger, I'll let you address that further if you would.
Yes, all the drainage through the area does release out in to the soccer field area. Public Works had ditched out an outlet ditch to that pipe back a couple of years ago and sided it down, and that's where we proposed to release our stormwater. We will do a stormwater management plan for this development. It is my intention to detain the peak runoff on a post-development basis to where it will not exceed what the pre-development condition is. We're sensitive to the area downstream there, and that's why we show that easement areas likely will allow that water to pond back in there and act as a detention basin. There is a culvert shown underneath Oak Park Boulevard that conveys some water from the Methodist Church, but actually not a lot. There's not a lot of off-site drainage that comes through this site. It's pretty limited. Most of the drainage that originates through the area will originate on the site. Now, we are going to increase the impervious area on the site by virtue of the proposed density of development, and that. But I would tell you that we will follow industry standards and city requirements for stormwater management to design a system that will meet industry standards. In other words, for the design storm, our intention is not to increase the peak runoff. So we tend to try not to aggravate the situation. We also know out on the roadway what the crest elevation is on the curve out there. And so we know what our floor elevations, minimum floor elevations on these structures need to be to avoid, any water backing up to the into them as well. So.
Okay. Questions? Okay. Item 9, Calvert City zoning section 7.4C4, zoning B1 setback requirements. A minimum setback of 25 feet is required for front yards and is mentioned on the master plan. However, it appears that lot 2 has a setback of only 20 feet on the Oak Park Boulevard side. That was correct. Roger has come back and corrected this. That's this line right here to be 25 feet from Oak Park Boulevard, or from the right of way at Oak Park Boulevard. So that's been fixed and addressed on the site, or on the development plan, master plan rather. Item 10, again, zone B setback requirements. A minimum setback of 10 feet is required for side yards and is mentioned on the master plan. However, all interior lot line setbacks are proposed at 5 feet on the master plan. This should be presented to the zoning board for ruling on whether 5 feet setbacks for interior lot lines is acceptable, or if they should be held to the side yard 10-foot minimum setback. Now, it is our understanding, and I'll let Roger just talk about this in just a second, but he's going to request a 0 lot line project. Would you like to elaborate, Roger?
Yeah, and we would like to pursue development of the site under the guidelines in your zoning ordinance for a 0 lot line development. And now the primary reason of that request is we'd like to tighten up the side lot lines for the structures to be constructed within the development. We're building what I would say a medium-sized townhome is what we're proposing, something on the order of about 1,300 to 1,500 square feet on the main floor with a basement. But that said, in order to get the number of units in there that we need to get for the development. We need to tighten up the side lot lines. It's something that's done pretty routinely. We do have one example in Calvert City where it's been done. The townhomes that are down on Fifth Avenue by Edward Jones, several of those, that subdivision was platted with 5 or 10 foot setbacks. I'm sorry, or 5 foot setbacks. I think 5 foot 10 total. But that's what we're proposing here. In order, and again, John's got a development plan, and you can see a little bit about how that would look. We're not, that's probably, we're just going to request it that way. We may not need all of that to do what we need to do, but that's the premise of that proposal. Right now, we do not envision having structures tied together, and we do envision the separate structures through there, and each one of them would have some side yards. And I think you'll find this is a pretty common practice. There's a number of developments that are being done in the area this way now, and that's how we want to try to approach it, provided the commission so approves. So.
Just so you guys, just kind of remind you guys, when we redid the zoning ordinance, we created a whole chapter called Zero Lot Line Development, and it was in place of what used to be the PUD, public something development, and it encompasses not only things like strip centers where you've got buildings that share common walls, but also developments like this where you're developing a whole neighborhood and you're presenting it as a more concentrated development than an ordinary subdivision might be. You're creating your own set-aside neighborhood. And so our zero lot line development allows for that. And it's just simply subject to our engineer's review, my review, anybody else's review that you want to submit it to. I know Ben Capps usually comments on, can we get a fire hose or truck between the buildings? So you might want to double check with Ben. But those are the kinds of issues. This is being presented to you as a development that is more packed in the vernacular than regular subdivisions. So it's up to you guys to make sure that it makes sense, that it's serviceable as a community in the city. But you're given a lot of leeway in that zero lot line development chapter.
Questions?
For the commission, does anyone have any concerns about this being developed as a zero lot line? Guess not. Okay, John.
Okay. Item 11, setback requirements again. All commercial establishments located on adjacent lots to restrict residential district shall maintain a minimum setback of 20 feet on the side adjacent to the residential district. The Five Guys Rentals LLC property is zoned R2 and the city of Calvert City property is zoned R2. If any of the lots within the Park Place subdivision are to have commercial establishments built upon them, then the Senate 20-foot setback may apply to those lots as well as the buffering requirements detailed in Article 8. Actually, lot 1 does not. The only lot, which is the one adjacent to Five Guys, because that's a residential development, and there was no way to know that at that point in time, and this doesn't show that here. But the only one addressing commercial development would be lot 11. And there's a 20-foot setback between lot 10 and lot 11. And then you've got, of course, an easement that would prevent 20 feet against the city's property here. And I'd have to go back and check actually I have to look at the park, make sure that is zoned R2. If it is, then we might need to place a 20-foot setback line along this western boundary. It shouldn't affect any of the development, but that may be the only thing that we need to address at this point. I didn't even think about that being an R2.
I think that park is a conservation, John. I'm not positive, but
I would think so.
Hang on a minute and I'll find out.
If we did our job well, it should be conservation.
that's kind of what I was thinking.
Oh, don't jump in there that quick. It was on the other side. It is R2 on this side. Sure is.
Where is it, John?
That's it right here. That's the one this is the lot 1 would be bordering here, residential, but this is residential. This is the lot right here, right in this area here would be a lot 11, right, Roger?
Right.
Yeah.
And it would be the R2 would be behind it. All of this right here would be R2 and would require a 20-foot setback. Now, granted, that's his drainage area. It's the low area, not where he's going to develop. So it shouldn't be necessarily an issue, I don't think, but.
No, it's not a problem.
So, but that is the case. It is an R2. And so therefore the only thing that I can think of right now that this may not have would be the setback line along this border here. Okay. Everything else he's got is addressed and it looks to be in good standing as far as the setback lines go. And
John, is that the same as lot 1 as well? Would that be a 20?
no, it would not, because this is not a commercial lot. This is a residential lot.
Okay.
He's developing 1 through 10 as residential. The only thing being developed is commercial. And that's the only thing this affects is commercial adjoining residential would be the 20 feet on the commercial that adjoins residential. So
Gotcha.
only a lot 11 would require that. Well, that's right. You wouldn't need the 20-foot setback along here
Yeah.
either because
Yeah.
that's not commercial.
Which-
Only lot 11.
Which with that multi-use path easement should give him that.
That's true. He'll need to just show it on there, but it's already basically incorporated with the multi-path, multi-use path.
Okay.
So,
We can update the master plan to show that.
yeah,
setback.
that's the only thing right there. Everything else looks good.
Sidebar, does anybody remember why we left those parks residential? Was there a method to our madness or was it just sheer madness?
Madness.
Yeah.
But we just weren't
Don't
spot
admit to
zoning.
anything.
That's true. It kind of all rolled into that R2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no contiguous reason to, I guess, make it that not an R2, I guess.
I think it was just an oversight. We
Well,
didn't,
and it's city
Yeah,
owned.
it was.
So
yeah,
I
and
don't-
we didn't
Yeah.
pick it out. Yeah.
we weren't concerned with it since it's city owned. So
Are you good with do you want me to leave this up or are you already all right for me to take it down for right now?
The only question I have, and I know last meeting, the question was raised about the cul-de-sac, if it is sufficient for fire trucks and so forth. So,
Yeah, he changed that.
okay. So you're good
He
with that?
changed it from 35 to 50. I see that.
Okay.
And this is planned, of course, in 2 phases. That's the master plan.
Yeah, it's demarked on there. You can see where the phase 1 is and the phase 2. And I don't know. I hope I don't have to phase it, but that's what we have planned right now.
We help you.
And the way we would propose to do that, we'll have to put all our utilities in, most likely, and then I would turn the road out.
Or
and then
grandmother.
come back and put that in later. So
Hey, John, if you have that other plan that Roger sent you that shows the buildings, yeah, there you go. I think that'd be useful just everybody to kind of see.
Mhm.
That's good. Yeah. That'll be neat.
Mhm.
Are y'all seeing that?
Yes.
Yep, we are. Looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yep, does look good.
Show
Okay.
grandmama. Go show grandmama.
Okay.
All right. Any questions, folks? Comments?
Nope.
What's the pleasure of the commission regarding this plan?
Let me, before somebody makes the motion, let me suggest that if you vote to approve it subject to those unanswered issues that Roger said he's,
Yeah.
that he's leaving open, like removing trees and putting in particularly the stormwater control mechanism. We need to be sure that the minutes reflect that any approval is subject to subsequent review and approval of stormwater, however the stormwater control turns out.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Set, of course.
I'll make a motion to accept the proposed Park Place subdivision, subject to the stormwater drainage be addressed, as well as the 20-foot setback on lot 11. And was there one more subject?
20-foot setback on the park.
On just lot 11 though, right?
Yeah, just lot 11.
Yeah.
What about against the R2 zone?
The what? Say again,
Yeah,
Roger?
The rear on the
you're
R2
okay.
zone? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's residential. It's residential, so it's
Yeah.
not a violation.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
as long as
Okay.
it's set, do
Only
the,
the commercial lot.
which I'm not concerned with just because of that easement, but I think putting it in there will make it clearer for that. So I'll make that motion with those provisions.
Okay.
Do I hear a second?
I will second the motion.
Have a second by Gary. Any question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed by like sign? So like that motion carries. All right. Very good, Mr. Colburn.
Looks great.
All right.
Go
Yeah.
start building.
Yep.
Well, we gotta do subdivision next. So we'll be back next month with a preliminary plat of subdivision. So,
Very good.
Sounds like you know what you're doing. It really does.
well,
Have you done it before, Roger?
I have done it a time or two,
Yeah.
but not spending my own money. So,
It's a little harder that way.
The owner's a little bit more difficult to work with, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I just want to do it. I mean, I've got it in my mind. I want to do it. I want to press on. I wish the lumber prices weren't so sky high, but that's part of it. They may
Always
not
work.
be coming down anytime soon.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Borrow money from your brother, he'll loan it to you.
He might. He might. He's watching. He's sending me text messages asking me questions. So
All right.
I
Very good.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Roger.
Rather.
Good enough.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you. Did good.
Okay, John, you want to update us on the Love's request?
I wish I could. They never did send me the paperwork I needed to present to you guys. I went and put them in, and they didn't follow through, so that's them. They'll just have to wait till next month before they can go further.
All right.
I'll give you a rough on this. What they're wanting to do is make some additions to the existing main structure. And they've got plans they've submitted for building permits, and the building permits of the county have gone through, but they haven't gone through us to determine whether or not this will be a minor modification that you guys will waive a development plan and just go with a zoning compliance, or whether or not you determine that they need to go back and get another development plan and run it through you guys. So it's going to be your call on this one. It's not, I don't feel comfortable making that call. There's certain things I would say yes to that it's not, but this right now, I believe is your call on this one. So,
Okay.
so anyway, I'll make sure that they understand that we're not going to approve anything until they get it through you guys.
All right.
You want to tell him, you want to get up in my lap?
All right. Since this is a special call meeting, that's only business we can attend to. So any other comments or questions? Do we hear a motion we adjourn?
I'll make the motion we adjourn.
Oh, motion. Here a second.
Tell him bye. Say bye.
Second.
Have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 6:12. Miss Crystal, thank you.
Wave goodbye.
Bye,
Bye.
Chloe.
Bye, guys. Thank you very
Bye,
much.
y'all.
Bye.
Tell him bye-bye. Tell him bye-bye.